Okay, Samurai, let's talk racer's kit. First off, you will need a nice full-faced helmet from within at least the last 5 years. Not a modular helmet, proper full face only. You will need gloves and boots, and a leather racing suit, preferably airbag equipped. These suits are not cheap or trivial, but they're worth every single penny. Next, make a physical checklist that lives near your bike. We need to be logging all of the changes that we make and giving notes to refer to for when we're trackside. The difference between dicking around and science is writing it down. Next, the bike. If you don't have a bike yet, head on over to Bobby J's Yamaha in Manal at Monroe Street in Albuquerque.
You will want race fairing.
You will need race fairing. This includes a belly pan that is sealed and doubles as a catch pan in case you're leaking any kind of fluids, and typically some sort of head unit and tail unit to increase your aerodynamics. There's lots of different brands out there. I personally think Taiga does an amazing job, but Cheetah Skins also have an amazing reputation. The main thing to remember with your fairings, whenever you're taking them on and off, is to have some place to put all the little fasteners. All of those fasteners are so easy to lose, and when you do lose one, they're impossible to replace. Let's go tip to butt. Check your wheel bearings by putting the bike up on stands. Spin the front wheel a little bit and see how even the resistance is. If you have uneven resistance, it might be time for some new wheel bearings. Don't try to repack motorcycle wheel bearings. It's not worth it. The ceramics are worth it. If you have oil down here on the forks, whether it's an upside down or an inverted fork, you're going to need fork seals. You can check your brake pads both in the front and the rear by looking directly in at the pad. It's pretty easy to see whether or not the pad is worn or not. A lot of times there's discoloration from being overheated. It's kind of always a good time to change brake pads. Fresh brake pads feel good. Just make sure that you bed them in. Give them a couple of tight squeezes on the way out and make sure they're working before you really get heavy on them. You always want to replace your brake fluid. This is more than once a season, usually maybe 2, 3, 4 times a season. Brake fluid boils. Some boils faster than others, some boils hotter than others, but all of it boils. And once it's boiled 3 or 4 times, it breaks down and it leads to some major brake fade. Brake fade is dangerous. So do your fluid and do the rear brake while you're at it so that both of your brakes are on the same life of fluid. If you have ABS and you're trying to bleed that, take it to Bobby J's Yamaha. I don't even try and mess around with bleeding ABS. Coolant, just like brake fluid, boils and breaks down over time and becomes less effective. Drain the old stuff and pour in fresh engine ice or water wetter and distilled water. Glycol-based coolants are not allowed at the track. It's slick as hell if it ends up hitting the ground. Just be sure to swap in engine ice or some sort of glycol-based antifreeze before the winter freeze comes to avoid any sort of damage. Next, we want to change the oils. How often is a matter of opinion. Some guys swap it every single weekend. I personally feel 3 weekends riding is a solid compromise from paranoia. Your bike may be tuned a little heavier than mine, so find your happy place in terms of how many oil changes feels comfortable. I don't actually know if fork oil overheats or boils during use, but I do know that all oil slowly loses its viscosity over time. So I'm pretty sure new fork oil is also a good move every season. If you have any fork oil in the tubes near the fork seals, then it's definitely time to do your fork seals. Fork seals are a smart swap every single season. I personally like to check on the health of my battery using a multimeter, but this is not for everyone. I also make sure to have a nice charging solution on hand for all of these gizmos. I use a Noco, your mileage may vary. Another hazard to avoid is old gas. If you ran the bike last season, okay, no problemo. The gas is probably fine. Top her up and go. But if it's been a few seasons or the bike has sat or you don't actually know how old that gas is, I would drain it and swap it for something fresh. Bad gas looks relatively the same as good gas, so there's no real way to look in and tell. Your chain and sprocket are the next consumable item, and I recommend changing these every season. Not only is it a good opportunity to make small adjustments to your torque curve, it's a great way to avoid one of the truly dangerous catastrophic mechanical failures. The track is especially hard on the chain and sprockets, so make sure yours are looking good with even wear, or replace the whole set. The two sprockets in the chain wear into each other, so if you have one that's worn, they're all worn. Don't bother just replacing one unless you're trying to change gearing or something. You'll end up replacing the whole thing piecemeal and suffering throughout. Okay, let's get our safety wire sorted. Brake caliper bolts, oil drain bolt, oil fill cap, radiator fill cap, axle pinch bolts or castle nut, the water pump drain bolt. These are the essentials. You can never really go too far with safety wire. It's for safety. Once all of this is done, take your time and really enjoy the zen of putting the fairing back on the bike. It's the prettiest step. Trust me, they fit. Don't bend them, don't twist them, and you don't want to break them. Take your time. Avoid brute force. Don't forget the little plastic tabs that go in the back and all the little connectors. Conservation of energy says that every piece that's loose and is wiggling or wobbling or moving is shedding away from the energy you're putting into accelerating the bike with the throttle. So my theory is get everything as stable as you can so you're not dropping any energy into wobbles. You can test this theory at your convenience. Now let's adjust the ergonomics. Let's begin by putting the bike into a chock or onto a stand. Hop on there and make sure you're comfy. Find the way you're gonna sit when you're running. I prefer lower levers so I don't have to bend my wrist as much or drop my wrist as much in order to get a hold of them. So I set mine as far forward as I can. I prefer my pegs a little further back so my knees aren't jammed out and about a mid height so that I can touch the ground with the slider, but my knee isn't in the way. Don't let what I do influence what you do. Ergonomics are unique to everybody. You're probably taller than I am, and so you're going to want a different setup. Now, a quick shakedown ride in your neighborhood or in the pits to make sure everything's acting the way it should, and you are on your way.
Okay.
The rules have an exhaustive in and out of what is required for racing, and this video does not constitute an exhaustive manual. If you need help with any of this, hit up Bobby J's Yamaha in Manal and Monroe.
Nice.
They can get your bike sorted and help you get signed up and registered to race. Phil Neese, Minimoto director, told me that Bobby J's Yamaha is the best place to find a mini moto bike right now. Hit me up in the comments with all of your preferred fluid combos. I'm trying out RBF 700 brake fluid this year after cooking the Prestone last year. I've been a longtime proponent of properly mixed water wetter in the radiator. I'm running the Motor X oil that KTM recommends for this bike, and I run Maxima fork oil in a 10W16. Which fluid has made the biggest difference for you? Thanks for watching, Samurai, and remember to take care of yourselves because your fitness largely contributes to your fastness. Shiny side up, rubber side down. To finish first you must finish. Thanks for watching, SMRI. Remember, take care of yourself because your fitness means you won't get winded at the end of your thing.